Have you ever walked away from a conversation and thought, I spoke the whole time? Or maybe if not that self-aware, maybe you've left a conversation and you thought, I never spoke at all. Today I'm going to talk about a skill that can change your relationships, your business, make people like you even more, and that skill is listening. Now, I don't talk about this from the standpoint of like having it all figured out, for sure. I am not, by default, a great listener, but I've grown a lot in this area. Specifically because of my wife. My wife is one of the best listeners out there. Like, she's amazing, and people love her for that. I remember my wife and I were at a wedding of a friend of ours. She was closer to the bride than I was, but we're sitting at a table with a bunch of the bride's roommates, and my wife is just sitting there asking for updates on all these different people's like families, cousins, friends, all this kind of stuff, because she listened when she met all these folks. And they just thought my wife was amazing and thought she was just the coolest person because she listened to them. So why does listening matter at all? Well, first of all, listening helps you build trust. It's what helps you build relationships. It's what helps you understand the people you're around, you're talking to. If you just talk the whole time, you never find out what their passions are, what they love, what they're scared of, what their concerns are. And you just can't be a very good friend or spouse if you don't listen. From a business standpoint, listening is a superpower, because if you can get your client to talk, you can find out more about what their true motivations are. And from like a sales standpoint, if you can find out what their motivations are, you can better help them find the right product, better help persuade them maybe in a positive way, obviously not in manipulative way, but you can help them achieve their goal better in business by simply listening. Now I'm going to give you some tips about how to make you a better listener, but first let's talk about some of the mistakes people make when conversating with someone and being not a good listener. First, you're interrupting people or finishing their sentences. Nothing says to somebody, I think I'm smarter than you, than trying to finish their sentences. It's so rude. Thinking about what you're going to say next as opposed to actually listening. Maybe you listen to one point they make and don't listen to the rest of it because you're thinking about what you're going to say about that one point, and then you miss half the conversation. Giving advice too soon as opposed to actually listening to everything the person has to say before you give your feedback, if they even want your advice. Being distracted, checking your phone all the time, looking around. Nothing says I don't care about you more than looking at your phone while someone's trying to talk to you. One of the things that happens when you're a bad listener is that even if you do deeply care about people, when you don't listen to people, when you talk the whole time, you make the people around you feel like you don't care about them at all. And I know that because I've seen it with people in my life that I know that they deeply care about others, but they don't listen, they talk, they monopolize conversations, and everybody around them just feels that like they don't care about them, even though I know that's not truly the case in these people's hearts. So, some simple ways to be a good listener. Number one, be present. Put away your phone. Make eye contact. If eye contact is uncomfortable for you, periodically just glance at their eyes, and then you can look maybe at their mouth or something like that. It might be a little weird, but try to make eye contact, because that says, I'm here, I'm with you. Pause before we respond. Even maybe take a breath, just to make sure the other person is totally finished before you respond. Use reflective listening, meaning say back to them, what I hear you saying is da 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 da. Or, that sounds frustrating, tell me more about that. Ask some follow-up questions. Instead of just responding, dig deeper. Like, let's say they're talking about their kids. Maybe ask where they're going to school, or ask what their ages are, or ask what's something fun about their personality. If you're in a more casual setting, as opposed to asking somebody about their job, ask them a question like, what are you most passionate about right now? Or what really gets you excited when you're done with work? Another thing you can try is match their energy or their emotion. So if they're really, really excited and talking with big gestures, if you're comfortable with it, talk with those similar gestures. What it does is it communicates subconsciously that you're with them in their excitement, in their sadness, and whatever emotion they're feeling, and that's gonna help them feel more like you're connected to them. So match their emotion, their energy. Acknowledge them, not with a, yeah. That's not acknowledging. Say something like, oh, that's really interesting, or I love that you shared that, or maybe if it was something that was a little more personal, be like, hey, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I know that was pretty scary. One more bonus tip, and this doesn't always work, but you can send a quick follow-up message to them afterwards. You can say something like, hey, I really enjoyed our conversation. Thanks for sharing that with me. What that does is it cements the connection that you made during that conversation and helps that person feel more valued. Now, becoming a great listener is a process. Obviously, I started from a lot worse spot than my wife, but she's grown as a listener, and I've grown even more as a listener. But I don't think that we ever arrive at being a perfect listener. And sometimes you will fall back into old habits, old ways. I do on a regular basis. That's no reason to beat myself up. I just simply want to make sure that I try to do better the next time. And you may go through seasons where you really struggle with being a good listener, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just try to be a better listener the next time you connect with someone. Because this life isn't about being perfect. It's about trying to be better, trying to be a better version of yourself each and every day. And being a better listener is one of the best things you can do for your relationships with friends, coworkers, spouse, family members, whatever. Being a better listener is just one of the greatest superpowers you can have as a human being. Do me a favor, before you click off this video, use the comment section below and let me know if you have any other hacks or tips or tricks that help you be a better listener. And if you're brave, share a funny story about a time that maybe you didn't listen or somebody wasn't listening to you. I'm sure we'd all love to hear it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.